A hotbed of technology, Asia has massive influence on the cryptocurrency markets. From Chinese miners to regulation in South Korea, knowing the players and what they're up to can be helpful for both enthusiasts and investors. In this episode, we're going to survey the landscape in major Asian countries, check in with the latest crypto news, and toss in some shenanigans and falderall. This is your certificate of authenticity for the bona fide, one and only, not to be duplicated, because why would you want to, license to listen to episode number 88 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Who's bad?
You say these cats, Joel and Travis, is some bad mother. Shut your mouth. But I'm talking about Joel and Travis.
Here we are, number 88 of the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious, serious, and so forth and so on. Googling stuff so you don't have to. Heard around the world in countries that don't even speak English, but they listen in English. And we're glad that you're here. Welcome. Come on in. Have a sit down. Set a spell with us there, son.
Kick back and listen to Bad Crypto.
Oh, yeah. You're listening to the smooth sounds of Bad Crypto Radio. I'm Joel Comm, taking you into the evening with a Shiba Inu by my side. And Mr. Travis Wright. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Oh, well, welcome, folks. And also shout outs to the show sponsors for this show, the Zilla app, the ICO marketplace app. Abasa Phillips has some tricks up his sleeve, perhaps to get around, get by, or do without Apple. I don't know what the deal is, but you can check out the information about the app at zla.io/bad. And Mr. Travis Wright, we have a new sponsor.
We do. Now, you guys know, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but if you've been on exchanges or if you've dealt with any of these crypto companies and you've tried to contact somebody because you've had a customer service issue, you ever experienced that?
There's no one there, nobody home, no reply at all, in the words of Phil Collins in Genesis.
True. Yeah, so the whole entire crypto space is full of these tons of expanding, ever-growing companies, but they're all drowning in user request and support tickets, right? So this
is anybody listening?
Is anybody out there? So this one's sponsored. No, they're not listening. Yeah. So Staff Virtual, they are a company that knows that how hard it is to for companies to keep up with that growing demand for customer support. So if you are a company in the crypto space, the solution is outsourcing. And it's really the only way to scale as quickly as you need to. I mean, a lot of times these companies are getting 20, 30 million, 50, $100 million doing the ICO, and they got to ramp up and scale up. And you need to scale up quickly. You need to make sure you get some customer support in there. So Staff Virtual has applied its years of expertise in customer support and has applied it into the cryptocurrency space, Mr. Joel Comm. So Staff Virtual, they've been instrumental in crypto coin pre-sales, brand awareness, customer support. So if you are doing an ICO, if you have done an ICO, if you know of anybody who is working on or has worked on an ICO, make the most of it by, thinking about your launch and your long-term customer support needs. And you can check that out at staffvirtual.com. Mr. Joel Comm.
Bad Crypto voicemail. You have one new message.
Hey, Travis and Joel. This is Kyle from Florida. First time calling in. I've been catching up for a few months. And I got to someone's question about making it rain crypto. I had an idea as soon as I heard it to put bits of crypto on the gift cards where you can scratch away to see the private key. So you still have something physical to make it rain. It might be a stretch when you're making it rain, but when you're, in the places where you make it rain, that's not the first thing to stretch. Stay bad.
Thanks for listening and for calling in, Kyle. Good to hear from you. We were wondering when you were going to call. I mean, Travis was just sitting there saying, is Kyle ever going to call from Florida?
Kyle doesn't write. He doesn't call. He doesn't text. He's not on the Telegram. I haven't seen him on the Bad Crypto Mastermind. I was quite frankly worried sick.
Well, you don't have to worry anymore. Kyle has come home to the Republic of Bad Cryptopia with a good question. I love the idea of crypto gift cards. And we've talked previously about one company that has something kind of like that, Ether cards, ether.cards. It is like a credit card size card that has Ethereum logo on the front and a scratch off on the back that has the private key. So you can load it up with the public key and say, here's some Ethereum. And I'm assuming you could put any ERC20 compatible token on it, right?
I'm not sure about that, but I have purchased a couple of these, and I actually gave out some Ether as a wedding gift back when it was worth about, I think, $150, $200 or something like that. And I told them to hodl, right? Because that's what you want to do. And they were like, well, okay, because I don't even understand what this is or what it does. And they were pretty excited when it got up to $1,500 nearly there. And now it's down. Now it's at $900 or whatever. So not bad from given the gift of Ether. So you just take that address, or you just, as a QR code, you just boop, you scan it, and then I send it some crypto, and then they had that card, and they were able to use that and then transfer that over to their own my Ether wallet or whatever. So that's a pretty fancy way to give the gift of crypto.
Give the gift of crypto, the gift that should increase in value over time if we're on the right track with this thing. But
it may not. We're not financial advisors, so we don't know.
We're not even gift card advisors.
I'm definitely not one of those.
Unless that advice is that you buy gifts for us and put them on cards. I'm good with that. Craig Robertson wrote us via the contact form. I don't think it's the same Craig Robertson that was the actor in The Office.
The hot tub time machine guy?
I don't think it's him.
I think it is him.
Oh, maybe it is.
So awesome that Craig Robinson, the hot tub time machine guy, will message us.
Thanks, Craig. He's got two questions, actually, two for the price of one. Question one, is it possible for our government or any government to shut down crypto trading, not blockchain technology? It seems like it would be easy for them to do through internet providers. I guess they could tell the exchanges that it's illegal, and any U.S. based ones would have to go offline or go offshore. And then they could be like China and block certain sites. But we haven't done that here in the U.S. We don't block any sites from our citizens here. And most free countries around the world don't block sites.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure what his government is. He didn't actually say where Craig Robinson was from. We assume Hollywood. Yeah. So the thing is I don't know if you had a chance to watch that SEC conversation about crypto the other day, and they're not looking to ban or shut down crypto. They're looking to kind of get their minds around it, and they want crypto to kind of self-regulate itself if possible. And they might do some regulations down the road. But, one thing that I know is that if they tried to shut things down, then I would just use a VPN.
Correct. The second part of his question is saying if the internet is inaccessible for some reason, would that make it impossible to buy and sell goods and services or payments that rely on, crypto and all that? And I guess, yeah, if you don't have access to bandwidth, then you can't really do anything other than hodl, which is kind of what I'm doing anyway.
That's one thing that some people have talked to us in the past about, like, what happens if like an EMP, gets launched, those electronic magnetic pulse bombs or whatever gets launched over the United States, and all of our electricity and all of our electronics go down. Yeah, we would all pretty much be hosed. If that happens, I have, through the years, I've collected silver and gold. I think that it's probably a good idea anytime that you're investing stuff to not just hold one asset class. I would also say that I'm not a financial advisor, but if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, probably not a good idea. So maybe you might want to diversify a little bit. And diversify is a real word. It's not one of those words like Joel will just add a "fi" to something. So diversify is a real word.
Silver and gold, silver and gold.
Thanks, Burl Ives.
Everyone wishes for silver and gold. You know what that was from?
I don't know. Burl Ives sung it, though. I know that.
Yeah, Burl Ives sang it. Wasn't it Yukon J. Cornelius in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Rankin Bass Christmas classic?
Wow, you have way too much knowledge about that. You are busting out all kinds of levels of information on that.
Boom. Speaking of information, we got some in this week's news. Some people come down hard on Charlie Lee because he sold his Litecoin somewhere in the 300s. And also because he doesn't actively market Litecoin to the degree that some people would prefer he does. And frankly, I have no problem with either of those things. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he looked at it from a different lens. He thought that every time he said something or every time he went on a news site or anytime he did any of that stuff, then Litecoin would do a little something, something. And he did not like to be the face of the company that he built, which is kind of weird. But he did get out at the all-time high, so he is not hurting. So he got out at like 370 or something? Was that the all-time high? I don't really feel sorry for him because then it went down to like one something. And so he probably bought a bunch back.
But but it's over 200 again, isn't it? And I'm hodling. And Satoshi Light is Charlie on Twitter, and he tweeted just this week, 1 down, 3 to go. And so the 4 check boxes on here are merchant processor, popular online wallet, goods trading platform, and one huge unexpected surprise. So apparently the merchant processor deal has been done with Commerce CB, and that's the 1 down.
That is Coinbase Commerce, Mr. Joel Comm. You can actually go to that at commerce.coinbase.com. So this basically is an easy way for your business to start accepting cryptocurrency payments. So it is commerce.coinbase.com. Pretty handy.
And that's not the only Coinbase story we have. Apparently from Investopedia, Nathan Reif writes on February 8th that Coinbase is going to integrate SegWit, which should, in theory, mean faster transactions and lower fees. Because what do people complain about when it comes to Bitcoin?
Well, what does Roger Ver complain about? He complains about high transaction fees, slow transactions, et cetera, et cetera. And so in theory, SegWit sort of clears up that a little bit, right? So it allows for faster transactions, lower fees, and maybe even more transactions per day.
Perhaps so. So we'll see what really happens. But, I would imagine that implementing this it's got to be a good thing. I mean, because none of this stuff is taken lightly, right? The changes to technology aren't like, well, let's try and see what happens. They're kind of in a test environment where they feel like, we think we know how this is going to impact, the crypto space. And hopefully these decisions are wise.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of Coinbase, if you have not dipped your toe into the crypto space yet, we have an affiliate code. You can actually go to badco.in/Coinbase. And when you purchase your first $100 of crypto, you get an extra $10, and Bad Crypto gets $10 as well. So if you have not jumped in onto the crypto space and you're just listening, one of these days you may want to do that. And that's a good link for you.
Here's some cool news that just came in. I did not know this about the state of Wyoming here in these United States of America. But the Wyoming House of Representatives just passed 2 blockchain bills that are extremely blockchain friendly. In fact, got a press release that we'll link to in the show notes that said that this would make Wyoming the U.S. hub for blockchain innovation and the leading state for the cryptographic technology boom. Now, I'm in Colorado, and Wyoming is my neighbor to the north. And you're my neighbor to the east, Mr. Travis, right?
Well, technically not, because I'm in Missouri, so Kansas is a state between us.
We're all neighbors,
Wyoming,
though.
We're all neighbors, sure.
Mr. Travis.
I will. Yeah, so there's this Wyoming Blockchain Coalition. This passed the Wyoming House of Representatives unanimously 60-0, and they have 5 different proposed blockchain bills that have been supported nearly unanimously in the state. And Governor Matt Mead, he also said that there's a lot of support for additional blockchain efforts when he had his State of the State speech the other day. The State of the State. So there's 5 bills. One is the Bitcoin bill. That's going to move on to the Senate. So it passed the House. It's moving on to the Senate. There's a utility token bill, a blockchain filings bill, a Series LLC bill, and a crypto property tax exemption bill. So it looks like Wyoming might become one of the more friendly states in the union when it comes to crypto. And most likely more companies, if these bills pass, more companies may go to Wyoming to start their business.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill going to Wyoming, Capitol Hill. And I'm off to buy me some Bitcoin.
So check this out, though. Wyoming, they have some pretty awesome attributes, man. They have 0 income taxes, low cost of living. They have great fiber optic bandwidth, cheap power, and strict privacy laws for the Wyoming domiciled LLC. So that is pretty fascinating. They just said a lot of my magic favorite words.
Have you ever driven through Wyoming?
Wyoming's pretty beautiful, but they get some massive amounts of snow, don't they?
And the wind that blows through Wyoming. I mean, Oklahoma's got the song, you know, about the winds whipping across the plains. Wyoming's wind makes Oklahoma wind look like.
Oh my gosh, it sounds to me like opportunity. We should have Wyoming wind Bitcoin mines.
You know what? I'm digging it. So worth checking out. And now from Wyoming to the other side of the world for our feature segment, let's go to Asia. And we're around the world in just a matter of seconds. Really, it just took one little musical interlude for us to go from Wyoming to Asia. And here we are in South Korea. And I've never been. And it looks pretty awesome, Mr. Travis, right?
South Korea. I've never been to South Korea yet either. I've never been to North Korea either, Mr. Joel Com. So
you haven't been invited to cross the DMZ and check out the.
You know what? I was almost invited to go to South Korea for the Olympics with Huawei, but was not. Somebody cooler was invited.
I'm sure that blockchain will be bringing us to many of these Asian countries, maybe even this year. But we've got a number of stories. We're going to visit South Korea, China, Japan, and the Philippines. And it's not going to be exhaustive in that there's more links in the show notes, but we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the more interesting things, interesting for us, that we see going on in these countries. So, those of us that are in this hemisphere have a good idea what's going on the other side of the world. The first story is from CNBC that South Korea is saying they're going to crack down on what they call illegal and unfair cryptocurrency trading. Unfair? It's not fair.
They actually had a petition of over 280,000 signatures that was sent to the presidential Blue House. Now, if you recall, earlier in the year, about a month ago, they were talking about, shutting down some crypto stuff. But right before that happened, some of the government officials actually sold all of their stuff beforehand. And South Korea, they don't play. If something goes down they don't like, they will write signatures, and they will write their signatures on paper, and they will, and actually if they have a certain amount of them, then the government has to talk about it or something. So they are looking for ways to not ban cryptocurrency trading, and they're looking for a way to make sure that they find ways to tax it and whatnot. So I think it's still one of those things where they're trying to go through and figure out regulation on this. A lot of countries are trying to figure this stuff out.
Well, what they did do is they banned anonymous bank accounts in January, but they don't intend to shut down domestic exchanges. And, I have no problem with them banning the anonymous bank accounts, because it further squashes this idea that it's, drug money, right? And illegal and illicit goods that are being purchased with cryptocurrency, because we know now that is just such a small piece of the equation. And they're also looking for ways to tax cryptocurrencies. Of course they are, because that's what governments do. How do we get more of your money?
Mm-hmm. Now, here's a Forbes article. And this is another thing that South Korea did, is they are banning all foreigners from trading cryptocurrencies. Now, that's always been one thing that's been interesting about crypto in South Korea, is that there's always these arbitrage opportunities, because it seems to me that, in some cases, Bitcoin is always maybe $1,000 or even more, in some cases, more expensive in South Korea. And so it looks to me like they're trying to potentially find ways to avoid any potential foreigner arbitrage. Is that what you got from this?
I did. And in particular, China. So there's a blockchain OS startup that is backed by Chinese investors, and they have flooded the cryptocurrency market ever since China banned crypto. And so coins from China are entering the Korean exchanges, and then they are changed back into foreign currencies back to China illegally. And it makes it really hard for them to identify what's going on and where it's going to China, or whatever other foreign currency they're using to hide, what this is. And so with the system they have now, foreigners and minors, those that aren't of age, can't make investments unless there's a real name on the bank account. And so I guess, that could be a step in the right direction.
Yep. And this just came out 10 hours ago on Cointelegraph. South Korea's cryptocurrency exchanges made $648 million of taxable revenue in 2017. That's not a small sum at all, Mr. Joel Comm.
That's nothing to sneeze at all. That's a significant amount of money. So hopefully South Korea, is progressive as they are technologically. Hopefully their government will remain progressive where crypto is concerned, because they're our friends over there. And, we like when they like what we like.
Oppa Gangnam Style.
Yeah, we took that export, right?
All right. So speaking about China, we were chatting about that a little bit when we were talking about South Korea. So China has just had their Happy New Year, right? So it is now the Chinese New Year. It is now, what is it, the year of the dog?
Woof.
Year of the Doge?
Woof.
The year of the Doge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last year was the year of the rooster, but that is irrelevant. But what's interesting, if you've seen these last 5 years in the crypto space, crypto seems to take a dip in late January, early February. It's always seemed to have this dip. And so some people say that it's kind of in China, it is superstitious. So they don't like to spend a lot of money or do a lot of stuff around money in that first part of the year. So maybe that's why crypto has taken a dip in those different times. So it's kind of interesting to see if that's something that generally plays in on the crypto market or not. And but it happened again this year, right around the same time that it's happened over the last 5 years.
It does seem to be a pattern. And if you look at the crypto charts right now, as of this recording, we're sitting around 500 billion market cap. Bitcoin is at 11,500. I mean, what did it get down to? Like 6,000 or so during that last sell off and dip. And, for those of us who have hodled, it's on its way back. And maybe the Chinese will be, over their superstition and buying, or past the superstition and buying back in again. We shall see if it is indeed going to be a happy Chinese New Year, because there are some things going on in China that aren't favorable towards Bitcoin, especially in Bitcoin mining. They are shutting down Bitcoin miners. They're cracking down on this. And it's hard to tell when you read these stories on Forbes, which is, of course, a Western publication, if it's all completely accurate. But it does seem to be based around the fact that it uses a lot of electricity to mine Bitcoin, and that there's this control issue coming from China's central bank.
Yeah, so they're going to limit the amount of electricity that some of the Bitcoin miners can use. And because they've said that there has been quite a bit of electricity. So Bitcoin mining estimated to use about 4 gigawatts of electricity, which is equivalent to 3 nuclear reactors production levels.
Say
That's a lot.
Nuclear.
Nuclear? What'd I say?
Nuclear.
Nuclear?
No.
Nuclear. Nuclear.
Remember when George W. Bush would be talking, oh my God, get that there. Nuclear. It's not nuclear. It's nuclear. Why is that word so hard for people?
Nuclear.
Yeah.
Nuclear.
I just went nuclear on you.
You just went nuclear on me. Don't be going nuclear. So China's central bank, they have met on the Bitcoin mining issue. It's one of those things. Is it an energy issue? Is it a control issue?
Is it about criminal activity? Because the Chinese state doesn't want, criminal activity going on. So, regulation, I just don't know how regulation stops criminal activity. That's never made sense to me. Something's illegal and now criminals are not going to do it. Criminals live off of what's illegal.
Right. Now, if you look historically, what happened when you made alcohol illegal? Well, you created a black market for it, and there was the prohibition, and that's where the mob basically came in, right? You make marijuana illegal, what happens? Well, now you have this huge, war on drugs. Well, guess what? All these big criminal drug cartels got really rich and powerful. What happened whenever they made abortion illegal? Well, they were doing it in back alleys, right? What happens? You make guns illegal. Well, there's going to be a black market, and it's going to be worse, right? And so, when you create a war on something, it creates more of what you're trying to eliminate. So focus on what you want, right? It's like you want healthy, you want wellness, right? You don't want, like, with that war on drugs, you want people to be healthy and happy. You don't want them to be on drugs. So they just kind of name them wrong, and they go about it in the wrong way, and it creates this black market most of the time, which is no good. You really think that cryptocurrencies are going to get squashed in China because the cat's been out of the bag? They're going to find a way to make it happen, because a lot of them have family in different countries or different places, and they're going to work through them and connect, and I'll send this to you, you send this to me. There's always a way to work around, and especially when you have Tor and you have you have the dark web, and you have all these you have private cryptocurrencies like Monero and Verge and Pivx and Zcash, right? So if there's a will, there is a way, Mr. Joel Comm.
It's not the year of the cat, though, for it to get out of the bag. It's the year of the dog.
Mm-hmm.
And trivia points, who did the song Year of the Cat?
No idea.
Oh, Mr. Travis Wright. That would have been Al Stewart.
Okay.
Year of the Cat.
Who did Cat Scratch Fever? I know that one.
Yeah, the Nuge.
The Nuge.
Yeah. So let's jump from China now over to the Philippines. I know it's Philippines. And this story came out actually late last year on Bitcoin.com, and that is that the Philippines are going to legalize Bitcoin as a security. Boy, that guy over there, El Presidente of the Philippines, he's quite a character, isn't he?
You know, I've been to the Philippines a couple of times, and I really enjoy the country. Some of those islands are just unbelievably beautiful. The citizens there are so friendly. Like, it's amazing how nice and friendly the folks are there. So, I'm glad to see that they're looking at crypto in a positive light. They are looking they want to figure out how to regulate it. They wanted to have legalization around it, and they were doing some consulting around the legal bank. But they've been thinking about crypto for a long time, and they're actually their most popular wallet and crypto site. Their Coinbase over there is coins.ph, and so that's one of their top platforms over there. So there are a few companies out there that have been registered and endorsed by the Banco Central in Filipinos, which is the BSP over there. And so they are working on keeping an open-minded approach to this financial technology and keeping the innovations going. So they're not squashing technology there in the Philippines. One thing I like about the Philippines, Mr. Joel Comm, $1 is currently worth 52 of theirs.
Wow.
So you can go there and live like a king, and that is not even a joke.
Coins.ph is the website. And they're also, not only are they Bitcoin friendly over there in the Philippines, but they are developing regulation around trading and around ICOs. So, of course, the goal stated by the Philippines SEC is protect investors and reduce the risk of fraud. Things that I believe any common sense thinking person would be for, right? We want to protect investors and we want there to be less fraud so that we can have forms of currency that can be traded and used on the open and free market for the benefit of all. And, the Philippines, there's a lot of poor people there, and, crypto for those that are unbanked, those that don't deal with the system that we use with these ridiculous rates and no interest. And, they need this.
That's not even a joke, man, because the average person in the Philippines makes on average about $2 to $5 a day.
That ain't a lot of coinage there, Mr. Travis Wright.
That is not. And you know what? They are really enjoying the cryptocurrency space. It's interesting. I mean, in fact, we have a ton of fans over in the Philippines because there's a lot. Most of the Philippines speak English very, very well. And in fact, that's why you see, and that's why Staff Virtual, our sponsor, is actually in the Philippines, is because the folks in the Philippines speak, in some cases, better English than some people down south in the U.S.
That's not untrue. That is not true. Last little jaunt on our tour of Asia is Japan, and finishing with them because they are so pro crypto over there. And I know, Travis, you and I spoke when we last saw each other that Tokyo is on both of our bucket lists to go to the capital of Japan and see that city. And maybe some event in crypto will take us over there in 2018. but they are very Bitcoin happy over there.
That is true. They, a lot of Bitcoin goes through their exchanges. They love crypto. In fact, one of the top 10 cryptos in the space is Cardano, and Cardano actually is a Japanese created company, right? And so Japan, effectively, first and only country that has a proper legal system regulating cryptocurrency trading.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, cryptocurrency trading is just the wild, wild west all over. But Japan, they are figuring it out. They have wrapped their minds around it. They are working on making that, a more legitimate industry. And you know what? That's great. I mean, the Japanese are one of the largest foreign exchange investors, and they like these speculative investments. They love the cryptos over there.
They do. It used to be that the Chinese yuan accounted for the largest number of Bitcoin out there, but after they imposed these restrictions, that dropped. And now, as of January 15th, the yen accounts for 56% of Bitcoin, and it's followed by US dollars, which accounts for over 28% of the Bitcoin that's out there. So that's why I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. I really think so.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm huge in Japan. Well, it's because I'm a large fella.
You are huge in Japan. There was actually here the exchange over there, CoinCheck, had a hack that took place where 425 million US dollars, which accounts to 46 billion yen. It was the biggest ever theft of digital money on this exchange. And according to Reuters, they are repaying owners that were hacked that $425 million.
I watched part of the press conference with them, and you could tell that they were so humbled, and they looked as if they had dishonored their families in ways, right? And they were so just like, wow, they were those two founders of that particular exchange, CoinCheck. They were really, really down. I mean, that's a lot of money, and where are they coming up with that money to pay it back if it's been stolen? That's 46 billion yen, $425 million. That is a lot. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to come up with that and be able to pay it back. But that was a pretty solid gesture of them. So that just goes to show if it's regulated or not regulated, or if you're getting hacked, then you know what? Over there in Japan, they want to make sure that they keep their customers happy, and they're going to make it right.
They are setting up a self-regulatory body for the cryptocurrency industry, according to this story on Nikkei.com. Cryptocurrency industry groups in Japan have agreed to merge in an effort to accelerate the establishment of voluntary regulations and regain public trust in the aftermath of a massive virtual currency heist. So it's going to link the Japan Blockchain Association with the Japan Cryptocurrency Business Association. And, we'll see what impact this has. All I know is that they're incredibly crypto friendly. They're extremely capitalist, and they understand that a rising tide lifts all boats. And crypto, it wants to be free, yo.
It does. And you know what? How fun would it be to go to Tokyo, Mr. Joel Com? And if we do go, we have to go to Kyoto. Did you see the episode? Speaking of better late than never, did you see that when they went to Japan and then they took the bullet? Oh my God, that was one of the funniest episodes, man. I tell you what, Terry Bradshaw, that dude is a clown.
And Shatner, he's in his 80s, and they're always joking about, he can kick off at any moment. But it's so fun. We are not financial advisors, but we are TV show advisors.
Yeah, right. We are that. One final piece of news out of Japan. Japan's finance watchdog, they're going to inspect 15 unlicensed crypto exchanges. So as a result of the CoinCheck exchange losing all those NIM tokens, now they're going in and they are going to inspect all of those different crypto exchanges. And there are so many crypto exchanges all over the world, Mr. Joel Com. You know what? I think that Japan will become maybe a beacon of truth to kind of maybe create the playbook for other countries on how they might want to start, managing and regulating some of the stuff going on in the space, because it is for sure the wild, wild west out here.
Domo arigato, Mr. Travbot 3000. Appreciate that. And all
Thank
of
you.
these stories are linked in the show notes at badcryptopodcast.com. Of course, you could always find a show easily by going to badco.in / and the episode number. In this case, it would be 088. See how easy that is? Anybody can do that.
We make it so easy, Mr. Joel Comm.
We do, because we love our listeners and our fans. And thanks to all of you for joining us for this riveting episode and this tour de force of Asia. We're now going to get back on our virtual plane and head back to these United States of America. And we'll catch you guys on the next round. Be sure to please subscribe and review. In fact, it's so important, especially on iTunes. If you're on iOS, those reviews are so important in order to have the show exposed to others. So if you haven't done it, please take a moment to go there. And it's a way of saying thanks to Travis and myself for the content that we put out. If you'll just go and rate and review the show and whatever platform you listen to, somewhere a kitten will smile.
And it helps ensure that we all stay bad.
I want to stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.